We've got a special guest today. We haven't had a video with Prepper Wife in a little while.
Hi.
It's been a few years.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, so this video is actually her idea. So today we're going to talk about the top 5 prepper things that we have actually used in the real world in a real situation. All right, so number 5 is our blue collapsible wagon.
Yes, and this one is, I think, a little bit more for folks who are living in an apartment complex. We used it when we had a fire drill. He knows that I will not leave the house without our cats, so he had to load up the cats in the wagon so we could get out and, you know, get to our parking lot or whatever it was.
Yeah, and it was kind of in the middle of the night. The fire alarm went off, and the cats all scrambled, and she was trying to get things packed up because we didn't know what was going on. And so, having 2 cat carriers plus a go bag was just a little much. So throwing the little kittens, the kitties, Georgia maybe, into the wagon made things a lot easier and by the time we got to the car, the alarm had gone off, but it was just an extra set of hands while we were kind of scrambling. And they are incredibly useful. Again, if you're in an apartment and you're shuffling groceries back and forth, really, really super handy thing. We actually gave them away as presents to your brother and sister. It was so useful. Yeah, and it folds up to like this wide, so it doesn't take up a lot of space when you're not using it, which is really nice. Number 4, cash in the car.
Yes. Should I talk about this one too?
Yes.
So he keeps like a couple $100?
About $100 usually, depends, but at least $100 and 20s in the car. And
that came in really handy just about a month or 2 ago when I was driving to another city to see my family and realized that I had forgotten my debit card and cash and everything in another one of my purses. Yep. So I didn't have any money on me, and I called him and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. And he was like, don't worry, I got you, because he thinks of everything.
So, I mean, that was not the intended use, it was really kind of a, we live in Texas, obviously, and sometimes I travel to rural parts of the state. So in case, credit card machines are down, there's enough money that I can get a tank of gas or 2 and a meal. If I bump that to $200 or $300, I could get a cheap hotel room someplace if I absolutely had to. If there's a random roadside garage sale that I have to pull into, I got some cash, but I keep at least $100 in the car hidden. This is a great example of that. Forgetting a wallet at home was not part of the plan, but this was a perfect use for it.
Yes. Came in very, very handy. Highly recommended.
Yeah. So number 3 is food storage, and I don't mean like survival food. I'm a big proponent of the deep pantry method. You just got a full pantry with canned stuff. And this has come into play a few times where like we've been out of town over the weekend and just don't have the energy to go grocery shopping. And so like we've got a couple of weeks worth of food in the pantry that we just kind of don't have to stress out about. And this really came into play during snowpocalypse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We couldn't go to the grocery store because all the roads were iced over. Our fridge wasn't running. We tried to put the food in the snow, but put it in the sun, which we learned is not. Basically, everything went bad. Everything melted and went bad. So we had no food from our refrigerator. We had to rely completely on all of our canned stuff. So I'd also recommend getting stuff that you actually like to eat. We learned during snowpocalypse that morale is a real thing during these situations.
Yes.
So we keep stashes of canned soup that's like the really hearty kind.
Yep. Big chunky stuff. Yep.
Yes.
Velveeta. Morale booster. Yep. Chocolate.
Yes. We each keep like our favorite candy bars and like fun sizes. That was a really good morale booster. Also like cans of like chili and vegetable soups just for like some good fiber. All of those were lifesavers during the snowpocalypse for sure.
Yeah, we did pretty well in the grand scheme of things. We had water, we had food, we had cooking ability. Side note on cooking, we have a gas stove, which is great. I also have 2 or 3 butane and propane camp stoves for backup and backups. We didn't need to use that because we have a gas stovetop, so I was able to just light it with a lighter, and we ate, pretty good. Not all that different than we kind of normally do. So store what you eat what you store. An emergency is not the time to be eating food for the first time.
Absolutely. And actually, we just went through all of our soup and everything. He puts a big piece of tape with the date that it expires on it, so I don't have to like go digging through the pantry too much.
Yep.
And I just went through all of our soup that we have, and we got to restock.
Yep. We're at the end of October in this video, so we're starting to get into winter time. Winter is relative in Texas, but hey, now it's a good time to clean out the pantry and resupply, because who knows what this winter is going to be like. You never can tell. So
yeah, I think one extra tip that I'll just sneak in there is kind of like twice a year, right before summer and right before winter, which in Texas are the 2 seasons where we might lose power. You will take a pretty good stock of our prepper situation with food and everything. Just make sure that like we've got anything that we need. Yep. Make sure that the battery supplies are all charged, all that kind of good stuff.
Yep. Extra paper towels, extra toilet paper, hygiene stuff. Yeah, right before summer when we get into peak hot and then hurricane season and then winter, I'll try to do a refresh. And it's a really good time to refresh your water storage, which is number 2. Number 2 is water storage.
Yes, and this one has come in handy a few times. Yeah. Do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so we had a water pipe go down at one of our apartments, and then a couple of years ago we had a turbidity problem in one of the lakes that supplies drinking water to Austin, so there was a boil water notice. And then also during snowpocalypse, we lost water for the first 36 hours. We had no water pressure, and then we had a boil water notice for like 2 weeks after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the water storage has really been wonderful. It's been a few times that you and I have not been the ones who have needed to rush to HEB and like get a whole bunch of bottled water and spend a whole bunch of money on that, just because we already had it, and you just set it up on the counter and off we go. Super handy.
So for water storage, I am a big fan of the 7-gallon Aquatainers, the blue cubes. And it's important. It's not the cheapest way to do it. I think it's the best way to do it because they have an integrated spout. You just take the cap off and there's a spout on the inside, and you take it out, you turn around and put it back in. So it makes it really, really convenient to dispense. Now remember, water weighs 8 pounds per gallon, and I'm not a real big guy. So we have tested it a couple of times. That Aquatainer is about the limit of what she can pick up and not that far off of what I can pick up. So we've rehearsed her pulling it out of the pantry and getting it on the counter. So just remember, it weighs 50, 60 pounds when it's completely full. And I will cycle. I don't put bleach or anything like that in the water. I'm not really great with that. But I will cycle the water at least once, if not twice a year. So I'll take it outside to the front yard where the tree is, turn the spout on, and just let the water, give the trees a drink. So as part of my biannual prep rotation, I'll pull out the water stuff and cycle it. Number one prepper item, USB batteries.
Absolutely.
I think I have like 10 of them. Every time they go on sale, I buy one. They keep getting bigger and getting cheaper, and we have used them repeatedly. We use them when we go see your dad play baseball. We use them on airplane rides, like when we went to Italy and we went to Ireland. Use them during our Italy vacation disaster, which I made a video on, and use them during snowpocalypse for phones and game systems and stuff like that.
Yes, and I wasn't with you for this one, but you've told me a story about you saving the day at a wedding that you were in the wedding party.
Yes, yeah.
Everyone's phones were dead in the bridal party, in the wedding party, and you had and like no one had, there was like no sockets in the room or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. No one had a charger, and you had a battery. And like the whole wedding party took turns charging it off, charging your phones off of yours.
And the officiant had her speech on her phone, and her phone was dying. So she was actually up on stage with holding her phone with my USB battery like up underneath it to keep her phone going, so she could do the ceremony. Yeah.
Yes, and during the snowpocalypse too, those were just instrumental. We kept seeing our neighbors like go sit in their cars, you know, for 20-30 minutes, and we figured out they're probably charging their phones. We never had to do that. We just got to charge our phones, you know, with our many batteries that we had, you know, plug in some rope lights when it got dark, which it got dark very early at that time. We didn't want to be running candles the whole time. Our candles were not going to last anyway. And then you went and actually made, you gave out some batteries to our neighbors, which I thought was very sweet.
Yeah, so after snowpocalypse, when, like I said, when we witnessed our neighbors charging their phones in their car, I found a really good deal on a 2-pack of USB batteries, and I bagged up the cables and stuff and left them on our neighbors' patios. When we do gift exchange at work, everybody knows that Scott's going to give a USB battery because I give them out as presents. Like, you just kind of can't go wrong. And as Steph mentioned, there are so many things that run on USB now. I have a USB fan. We have USB rope lights. All of my flashlights are USB. So it's not just your phone anymore. There are so many other devices that run on USB now. They have a USB water pump for like the water storage we just talked about. If you cannot lift an aquatainer and you need to move the water from one to another, they have a USB rechargeable water pump even. So there's lots and lots and lots of things that you can run on a USB battery. Anker is the big brand name for USB batteries. I carry one in my backpack at work every day, and I use it all the time. I also have multiple of the Chinese knockoff ones. I got no gripe for that. They do charge a little bit slower, but you know, if I'm just charging my flashlights and stuff like that, that's not a problem. So we've got 2 bonus ones.
Yes, these are ones that we almost got to use, but not quite. Mine is document storage. I keep all of my important documents, so like my passport, my social security card, just different things, in a little plastic bag.
File document bag.
Yeah. And I keep it accessible. You know, it's like on the top of my filing cabinet. So if we ever need to like leave our house really, really quickly, I have some documents already with me that are probably going to be needed and would be a huge headache to replace. So we almost got to use that.
And we evacuated with the cats.
Yes. Yeah. It was just for a fire drill. I was like in the middle of something, so I didn't quite make it out with you and the cats. Yeah. But I had it ready to go. You know, I asked you to put it out for me. So I think it's a really great thing to have handy.
Yep. And then the bonus for me, this was a real situation I've talked about a couple of times over the years. I gave a friend of mine a heat sheets space blanket that she actually had to use. She drove through a low water crossing in December, and her car stalled out, so she was soaking wet and cold, and had to wrap up in a emergency blanket while she waited for the tow truck to come get her. So if she wouldn't have had that, that could have been a really, really, really bad situation. So I strongly recommend that you keep one of those emergency space blankets in your car for every single person who commonly rides in that car. All right, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed this and got to hang out with Prepper Wife again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on the channel. This is always fun to come and get to do these videos with you.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye. See you on the next one.